We're back, and with the eventual passing of these clouds and the reception of the sun, people will migrate back outside their houses. You know what I always like about migrating outside my house? All of a sudden you see your neighbors again. You're like, oh, hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you since September. Kind of fun. Shows how close we are with our neighbors. Faith Sheridan joins us. The Faith Sheridan Interior Design Group. She's appeared on HGTV's Designer Challenge, and her work has been featured in several publications, including Seattle Met, Lux Magazine, and the Seattle Times. Welcome, Faith. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, it's our pleasure, and always fun to talk about outside, even though people aren't quite headed there yet. But, you design a lot of outdoor spaces, and that must be a little bit different and a little bit more of a challenge in, say, Seattle than if we lived in L.A. or Miami or somewhere where the sun was always shining.
Perhaps, but what I find so exciting about people in Seattle is how enthusiastic they are when the sun comes out. And it changes the whole energy. And so they attract that into the spaces that they want to design. And, of course, they're all different depending on where they live and the amount of space they have and all those other aspects to their home.
So I guess when the sun shines, is that kind of what drives people to want to create outdoor living spaces? I mean, of course, everybody wants to go outside, right?
I think that we've all heard that word staycation from a few years back, and I think it inspired people to look at the spaces they had that were available to them in their home and say, gee, I think I could do something here. I'm not taking a 2-week vacation this summer, but I can create my oasis in my backyard or on my patio.
Just like Hawaii.
Just like Hawaii.
The small ocean back there, get it all going. So what are some of the big questions that you have to ask when, I guess, before you start? I mean, a lot of it's got to be, do you have room for a patio? Do you have patios?
There are two critical things to focus on, and one of it is, what is the space? How much space do you have? And take and analyze that. And primarily, what do you want to do on the space? Are you a cook? Is it about grilling, having people over? Or are you more of the gardener, take care of your flowers and you want it to be quiet? So that's the first question. Do you intend to use the space primarily? And then the second one is, where does the sun come on your space? Do you have direct sunlight, in which case that means how you orient your furniture, or add an umbrella of the sun type, not a rain type umbrella, to your space.
And so really you end up putting, I guess it really comes down to what type of items people want out there too, right? I guess if you really want to get a tan, maybe there's no umbrella, or if you want to barbecue, I mean, there's so many different things you can do with an outside space, right?
Well, you don't want your guests to overheat. So an umbrella is a nice option, even if it's not up. That's the point of the umbrella. And
even if it's not up?
Yeah, it's not open.
Just a pole in the middle of all right.
Yeah.
I get it.
Or if we start getting a little drizzle, you can still have that umbrella up and keep eating.
What else are people putting outside right now? I guess that's true, right? And then turn the little propane tank on, and I still got to get one of those. So what are some other important things people are bringing in outside? I mean, there's furniture, there's lighting, land. I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, right now, I guess you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, and that's where you see all the fun outdoor furniture. Mm-hmm. Is that where you work, in that kind of arena then, when you're helping people set up, including furniture?
Sometimes if I'm advising them, some of my environments are pretty custom, but I do think comfortable furniture is key. And even if you're adding to an existing table chair set that you have, it's nice to have some cushions so people sit around the table a little bit longer. And I think having furniture that's flexible, so if you have a group come over, people can kind of organize how they take on a conversation with someone else. But people are adding...
so everybody can move closer to me.
Yeah.
I get it.
People are adding things like fire pits and heaters, of course. That's a big item. And even flat screens and sound systems.
For the outside area?
Yes.
Sounds like cribs. Sounds like we're going to tear it up a little bit. What are some of the more simple? I mean, what do you see as some of the simple projects people can maybe do? Maybe it is they're doing it themselves over the weekend. Maybe they need help with the design. What do you see as some of the simple things that people can do to make their outside area, a little bit more attractive as the weather gets better?
Well, I think making sure they have the right size furniture. That's the start. Is a table for four, most typically, and I do think an umbrella is important. I keep emphasizing that. I think if you like to read outside, or maybe you're the person that goes out in the morning, has the coffee, looks at the paper or your phone, and you want a place to sit out there that's comfortable. Likewise, I think people use the spaces to de-stress. They may head out in the evening and like the sense of it's quiet, maybe the sun's setting and they can see that, or if they have a view, they might see the water and people on the water, and they just take a deep breath and relax. I've had clients have yoga spaces on their patios. They not necessarily big. They need a mat is what they need.
That's true. I guess you don't need one about 6 feet tall and 3 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other big quick tips on creating an outdoor space?
Table, barbecue, obviously. I think that once you have the essentials, like the chair, chaise, table, chairs.
Place for people to go.
Right, the barbecue. Then you start adding other amenities like, I think portable refrigerators are a nice idea. Saves the trips into the kitchen. So that's nice for everyone. Keeps the beverages chilled and nearby.
Very important.
Very important. And then it's adding on to there, you might do outdoor lighting is nice. Heaters are nice, or fire pits if that's your solution to that. And those you just keep adding. And like we discussed, you can take it up to the next tier by adding a covered area that has a place to gather to watch the Husky games in the fall.
You're a Husky. Look at everybody. You got two people cheering.
A lot of dogs today. Well, I think that's a really interesting point because I think, we were talking about people are going to think about outdoor spaces more as it gets warmer out. But I think also creating the right outdoor space makes being outdoors livable, more comfortable. You can extend the time of the year and time that you spend outdoors, with the changes. You don't just hang out outside during the summer. You make, hanging out and having a barbecue possible in September, maybe November, maybe April, because you might have more, cover and you have those amenities too.
Yeah, it's comfortable. And I think that what I notice about Seattleites is they aren't deterred by the weather. Instead, they're determined to be out in the weather. And as you might guess, I am not a native, so I say that coming here from that point of view, an observation.
Well, Faith, thank you for joining us again. Faith Sheridan with Faith Sheridan Interior Design Group, and those outside spaces are going to become more and more important when the sun comes out. So something you can think about. When we come back, David Murphy is going to join us, Director of Operations with Credit Insider Club, to tell you some reasons that you may get turned down for your next loan. My name is Ben Brashen. You're listening to Brashenomics.